Hey everyone, this is Zach from Lost Trail. A couple of you folks have expressed interest in some kind of video showing you some of our setup, studio equipment, pedals, etc. So I'm going to try to do a very basic version of that real quick. What you're seeing here is my primary guitar. This is an Ibanez Jet King. It's basically what amounts, I guess, to a Jazzmaster Jaguar copy. More like a Jazzmaster, really. I needed a new guitar back in 2008 or so. Mom offered to get me one. Went to the gun shop / music shop place in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Not far from where my mom lives and where I grew up on the Outer Banks, and had every intention of getting the Mustang that they had there, a really nice Mustang reissue. Instead, played this guy, fell in love with it. Needs some tuning up after a lot of years on the road, definitely. The pots and the inputs and such are starting to get worn out. But yeah, and it's got couple little gouges in it and things like that when it's met floors. Some of you who've seen us play live probably know I can get kind of rough with things in the heat of the moment or whatnot. So, I use 10s pretty much universally as my strings, that sort of thing. So that's the main guitar. It's really versatile. It has the nice ability to mimic a lot of, I guess, pricier, quote-unquote, better guitars. I've just, I've had Fenders and things like that. I've just never really been like a brand snob as far as having to have a Fender or a Gibson or something. I'm more interested in the weirder, less common guitars, I guess. Not really wanting to sound like everyone else or whatever. So you'll see here, and this is set up as if I was playing solo rather than Denny helping out. So it's a little different when Denny is playing live too. She tends to run a lot of the machines and tape recorders and shortwave and stuff. But yeah, you'll see a couple of tape machines, small amp for amplifying the shortwave, speaker that makes crazy noises when you plug it into itself. It also makes a pretty bad smell, so who knows how long that's going to last. This cheap tape recorder over here I got on tour in West Virginia at a flea market, wanting to pick up an extra tape recorder because I was doing a lot of tape stuff on that tour, and instead it seems as if someone's circuit bent it. It makes really crazy noises and does not play tapes. So, just noise sort of things like that. This guy is generally used to record the guitar parts that are being played live and then play them back. It's been pre-treated, it's been damaged by running it over paper clips, things like that, put in water, so it plays back very warbly and erratically. And this one's mostly for dialogue samples on tape. So let's move on here to the pedals. I'll zoom out here and you'll see this is the board. Let's go piece by piece, I guess. Noisemaker Effects Crush Fuzz. Really loving this one so far. I have a real fondness for really thick, creamy, sort of Billy Corgan sort of distortion. That's good for that. This guy, Noisemaker Effects, is a little boutique company in Montana, off the grid somewhat. Bellcat Fuzz, cheap Asian fuzz. Don't really want to use it on its own so much, but it's really good as a boost, like an overdrive boost for lead lines and stuff, especially with this trusty Rat right here, which I've had forever. Behringer Ultra Feedback, the actual distortion on that pedal is pretty awful, but it does a really interesting effect in that if you hold it, it holds the sustain. It sustains whatever feedback is going on indefinitely. So, one trick pony, but a good one. Little Mooer pedal, slow engine vibrato pedal, mod tone harmonic tremor for vibrato stuff. Yeah, and this guy's like I should mention, it's more like a volume swell, kind of like cuts the attack off things. Kind of an Ebo-ish sound, I guess. This guy in the corner here, I'm having some trouble with the tracking on this. I like the pedal. Behringer pedals get a lot of shit because they're plastic, but they're still good sounding pedals. And I'm not a snob about pedals any more than I am about guitar. I like what I like. I tried, I looked at, like, the pitchfork and pedals like that, and I liked how this sounded better. And that's what this is. It's a, kind of a polyphonic doubler, harmonist sort of thing. We use a lot of, like, really high octave shift, like, lead lines on the louder Lost Trail stuff, so it's gonna be good for that live. And I say gonna be because a lot of these pedals are brand new. I made a decision to force myself into something new by getting rid of all my old pedals, my old amp and things, and just getting different stuff. So all these are new, fairly untested. Down here's the newest one. Just got this little Mooer Skyverb today. Really good little reverb pedal. Another Noisemaker Effects pedal. Hold on here. This Haunt pedal. This guy's a more subtle reverb, which is why I ended up getting the Mooer too. But I'm starting to like it. I don't know. It's a different sort of reverb pedal, but I'm getting the hang of it. This is a old Pink Label Boss pitch shift delay. Really, really strange sounds out of this. I had been looking at a Earthquaker Devices Rainbow Machine, and this seemed like the same sort of thing, but more usable and practical. TC Electronic Flashback Delay. This is replacing the Dan Echo that I had for years that I loved. Definitely a different delay sound, still getting used to it. A lot of options. I'm a real sucker for jangly 12-string sort of sound. Don't have one. So the next best thing is this Digitech Mosaic pedal, this little 12-string pedal. Sounds pretty good. Doesn't, sound exactly like a 12-string, but it's close enough. My favorite of the new pedals is this Luke's. They call it the Anti-Chorus Digitech pedal. It's more of like a polyphonic detune, but it's got a really great, like, kind of a 80s sort of Smiths sort of chorusy sound, which is great. This giant thing is a Line 6 Space Chorus. Really good for, like, warbly shoegazy sort of tones. So you could kill someone with that pedal with how heavy it is too. It's pretty insane. So that's the main board. I have a noise gate over here, a Behringer noise gate. It doesn't really do a lot, it doesn't really help, so I don't really use it much. We're in the midst of, some of you that follow us on Facebook know we've been this house is from 1910. We're dealing with some really annoying, like, grounding buzz issues here. Hopefully we can rectify that. Also, some of these pedals aren't playing so nice with the one-spot adapters. So having used batteries, which is a real pain in the ass. Down here, Digitech Jamman Looper, which I really love. I had an RC20 that I absolutely hated. It was a real abrupt, like, sort of noticeable jarring, like, transition from the end of a loop to a beginning, and it's a lot smoother on the Jamman. So I'm not sure why you see so many more RC20s, because to me, Jamman's better for the same price. For other noise, I've had this Copilot Effects Aero white noise generator for years. It just has an out, as you see, no input, it's just a generator. Really cool company from the Dominican Republic, so everything's pretty affordable. And right now I'm just running it through this grunge pedal, this Digitech grunge pedal. Just for dirty noises and stuff when things get loud. So that's pretty much it for the pedals. You'll see here, this is new. This is a Roland JC60 Jazz Chorus, taking the place of the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe that I had forever, just because I wanted something different, wanted really clean tones. This amp is really clean. It's probably the only solid state amp I would have bought to be my main amp. And yeah, I'm really digging it. I had thought of, the famous JC120, but just with how much we gig and how heavy it would be, it just seemed like overkill. This seemed plenty loud enough. You don't get the stereo effect, but, I was able to trade straight up, so it worked out pretty well. There's various accessory sort of things up here. Slide, a couple screwdrivers, an E-bow, etc. There's a bow here somewhere too. Yeah. Over here there's a bow, acoustic pickup, rosin, shortwave radio, stuff like that. This is just a cheap Rogue lap steel. Haven't messed with that much, not very good at it. Learning curve's quite severe. But I'm digging it so far. I hope it'll sound pretty good through the pedals eventually. So that's the guitar setup, so let's move on to the other stuff. This banjo too, this Savannah banjo, which is another thing that gets processed a great deal. On this wall is a cheap Casio keyboard that an old bandmate had. He threw out the wall in frustration, it broke. Half of it still works, so durability. We have a lot of things sitting around this house. It's cluttered in these two rooms. We really need to find somewhere with an outbuilding or something, but until then it's like, this is kind of mail supplies corner for packaging. A lot of the extra merch stock is down here. This organ is a Lowry organ, electric organ from the late 60s, free on Craigslist. Has a speaker problem, but not too bad. Haven't used it as much as we'd like, I guess. You'll see up there. Mount Eerie poster, Lost Wisdom, probably my very favorite album, even though our music sounds nothing like it. Junky old Tama drum set. I'm not really a drummer. Use it occasionally just to make noise with, basically. This guy over here is a Courtroom Dictator from Scrap Exchange, which is where we get a lot of our tapes and stuff. More amps, PV amp, an old PV Bandit, little crate with a Jules sticker on it, great band from Charlotte. Microphones and wires in these big boxes. This is a Teisco Checkmate amp that's got its back to you. Little vibrato solid state amp. And a Caliphone tape player. In fact, this tape player, I pulled the head out and put some tape across where the hair should be on a bow. It's kind of like a bowed tape recorder, that's why there's a bow with it. Need to play around with that more. Old VHS camera, electric typewriter, giant cassette recorder machine, all sorts of just stuff like that. This is our personal copies back here of all the Lost Trail physical releases, with some vinyl for sampling next to it. It's our case stuff. This closet is full of a lot more just random things, mostly that we pick up at Scrap Exchange to put in packages, that sort of thing. So, desk, old Panasonic vinyl machine, tape machine. Let's see. Over here we got some percussion stuff and a thumb piano in a corner, xylophone, a lot of weird machines, like this medical graph machine and broken Telex cassette duplicator, this Karamate slide projector, which we used to use live, toy dulcimer, that's a dental drill down there, like a dental drill electric reserve, fake fireplace. This is a attendant, like flight attendant case from Delta, My brother got this at a yard sale, and I'm not going to open this because it is full of cassette tapes, hundreds and hundreds of them. They would all tumble out like a cartoon. Cassette tapes that we mostly get from Scrap Exchange for sampling and for treating and recording on. Chord organ, pretty standard chord organ. We have a bunch of TV VCRs sitting around for visuals. Lots of cheap Casio, Yamaha sort of keyboards stacked in the corner. And probably the centerpiece, this piano, 1920s piano, Hackley from Chicago and Muskegon, it says. Hackley upright piano, got from a garage in Cary. Guy didn't want it anymore, it was free. Took us 6 hours to get into our old house with lots of people. So when we moved here to Burlington, we hired someone. Past this cat here is a map of the US with some old touring spots push pinned. It looks like some like horrible FBI map of like serial killer dump spots or something. That's mostly it for this room. And this is my other electric, the Teisco K2L. James Iha from Smashing Pumpkins played one of these. Picked it up from Guy in Raleigh. It's actually got, instead of a tremolo bar, somebody put a fondue fork. But it works, so why the hell not? And some of my mom's paintings on the wall. Karaoke machine with adjustable speed. Always a good thing to have. We're going to head into the other room here. Signed photo of Dick Dale, who I used to worship when I was a kid, and played in a lot of surf sort of bands. Lots of vinyl here, as you can see. Mostly classical. I like my classical on vinyl. Just sounds better to me. This is all Polaroid cameras, Holga cameras, and Super 8 cameras all arranged here. And this fireplace is just more vinyl stacked up. Incredibly creepy child painting from Scrap Exchange. Yamaha acoustic, which cheap but sounds pretty good. We use it for a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that sounds like electric guitar on Lost Trail is really processed acoustic from this guy. And just more stuff on the fireplace. And a lot of things just sort of stacked precariously over here. Bits and bobs of old tape machines, mostly, probably of 30 or 40, all just falling apart. Various states of repair and disrepair. Lots of batteries, lots of extra cables, that sort of thing. Let's see. The suitcase is full of Denny's hand percussion that she uses live. It's various hand percussion-y things. Got a bunch of stuff in this corner. Deer mask that I wear sometimes live. It's a little too small. Got it off Etsy. Always looking for a good, proper mask. It's on top of a dictaphone and an old PV rack unit, Rack Effects unit I picked up. Tape dubber. Old Yamaha drum machine. More tape machines. Old reel-to-reel. I think it's an Akai reel-to-reel. Little late 50s Japanese mini reel-to-reel. Mayfair is the company. CD stereo. Printing and scanning stuff we don't use, etc. And yeah, Christmas lights. I don't know. Just a bunch of, stuff. A lot of the personal stuff ends up here. A lot of the kitschier stuff. Pieces of a turntable. And that's really it, I guess, for the recording spaces. I guess I should probably note, too, for recording, we use we have a direct interface with this little tube preamp that goes into a XLR to USB converter. We use that. We use the Zoom H2 for field recordings and for other things. Usually the cassette just goes right out loud into the H2. And we mostly use GarageBand these days for a DAW. We used to have Logic, but we lost it. I still used GarageBand a lot just because I like simplicity. Too many choices overwhelm me, and GarageBand seems to fit what we do. Headphones are Sennheisers, just the regular HD 280s. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here, but I don't think so. I think that's it. So if you have any questions, just ask us. Thanks a lot.